Hi, everyone. I hope everyone is doing great out there. Did you guys hear the great news about the mayor of San Francisco, Daniel Lurie, signing off on the reparations ordinance to give cash payments to only black residents? I thought that was wonderful. I was happy to hear the news. He's going to give each black resident $5 million. Okay, and it's approximately about 45,000 to 54,000 black residents in San Francisco. This would only be at most approximately $225 billion total. And do you guys believe that the NAACP surfaced after all this benign neglect of FBA to speak against the reparations ordinance, saying it's given FBA false hope, a false sense of hope? Now, we know many of the NAACP members are not even FBA Descendants of Freedman, and of course they're going to come and speak negatively about it. Why does it appear that any organization with black in it appears to be against the FBA lineage? Why does it seem like they're always against everything that's going to help us progress and get reparative justice and fight for justice? They don't do anything that's going to uplift us or help us. They're always fighting against things and trying to take things away from us and undermine us. It's crazy. But I bet if the NAAC had word that the ordinance was for these foreigners that's coming here and these YT people in the United States, they would be right there. Probably would donate money to it so they can get paid. Okay, so I mean, it just shows you the NAACP are not our friends; they're actually our enemies. They've shown that many times that they are not for us. And these black politicians and organizations are just, they're just coming after us. Even the Democrats, they're not saying much about it either. Why are they not trying to come in to help us with this and fighting to help us like they're fighting for these illegals, trying to break in detention centers to get them out? But no, they're quiet. They're quiet. They're just quiet as just nothing. Just no words. They don't care about us at all. So I don't understand why they still think they're gonna get our vote. They're not getting my vote. That much I can say. Never. Okay. And this is, I mean, and then you have all these other groups complaining about black residents getting $5 million per resident, saying that the city of San Francisco cannot afford to pay the black residents that type of money. There's more than one way to get that funding. It doesn't necessarily have to just come from tax dollars. There are other ways to generate that money to give, to the black residents. Okay, they want to keep talking about taxes, but I don't see them yelling and screaming when these illegals are getting all this money from tax dollars. I don't see them yelling and screaming that, their tax dollars are missing and they don't even know what the government is doing with their tax dollars. And I'm talking about in the billions, trillions of dollars, okay? Yes, it's that much money that's going away. Okay, since Kamala and Biden came in here and let all these people, millions of people in here, and a vast majority of them seem like they're settling over here in California, they're not saying a word. I don't see them complaining about none of it because it's a lot of them here. They don't care. They probably got family members coming over here sharing that money that they're getting for crossing these borders and living with them and giving them some of those benefits that they're getting. But I don't see them saying no thank you, that they don't want the money. None of them. But they seem to have a problem because the black residents are getting some type of reparative justice for the harms of slavery and, Jim Crow and all this stuff. Well, I mean, we're still going through problems now, and that's the horrors of slavery. That's why they're so hateful now. All these other groups coming here and targeting us. What do you think that's stemming from? What do you think all these ideologies are coming from against us? Even the people in Africa, even the people in the Bahamas. What do you think these ideologies are coming from? It's the white tea and the white supremacist ideology. That's what it's from. You know, that's exactly what it's from. But I give much respect to the mayor of San Francisco, Daniel Lurie, for even doing it. Gavin Newsom, his behind vetoed. He didn't even want to even hear about the reparations bill. And the sad thing about it, the bill wasn't even about anything. It wasn't even talking about cash payments. And he still said he was going to veto it. Don't bring it to his desk because he's going to strike it down. Now, if you can't, boy, it's no more hatred than that, okay? That bill was so empty, and he still was not going to approve it. That man does not like black American descendants of freedmen. He does not like black people, Okay? Now, you see him on these shows making burritos and tacos with the Latin population, but you don't never see him with black people like that. I don't see him with any black people. He doesn't do anything for black people. But they want our votes. These Democrats keep wanting our votes, and they're always showing up to try to talk against something that somebody's trying to help us with, which we don't get anything. Okay, all these other groups have been given reparative justice. They've given money to the Japanese for the internment camps. They've given money to even people from Guam came over here getting checks. Okay, they gave them money. They gave the people from the J community. They gave them money, and that atrocity didn't even happen over here. It happened over in Germany. It did not happen in the United States. Okay, they gave them money. Okay, and they're descendants of it. They didn't go through any of the things that their ancestors went through. Okay, and they keep saying that about us. Well, they weren't slaves, and California didn't have slaves. California did have slaves. During the gold rush, they did. The Southerners came over here and brought slaves with them. They did. You guys don't even know your history, or you're choosing to be dumb. You're just choosing to be, ignorant to the facts because you're just that hateful and racist. That's why you don't want to understand and say you don't know that there were slaves here. There were. They were even capturing slaves and turning them back into their owners. They were doing that to black people, the black descendants of freedmen back in the day. They were doing that, and during the gold rush. They did do that. In the 1800s, they did. Okay? So don't sit up here and say there weren't slaves. There were slaves in California. Even if it was outlawed, they still practiced it. Okay? It does not matter. They still had slaves. Okay? You need to go Google it. Do your research. Okay? And you'll still come back and say, oh, no, it wasn't slaves. And you'll try to, change the narrative to suit your narrative. But the fact of the matter is, I'm happy somebody is seeing us. I'm happy our people are getting some type of reparative justice. It's a long time overdue. And you got so many people talking against it. Even people that look like us are talking against it. This is insane. That's insanity. But I just feel like, even when they get this $5 million, they need to put a black anti-hate crime bill on top of that for Descendants of Freedman. Because these people are talking so hateful and stuff on these social media platforms and making all these comments because they don't want black people or FBA Descendants of Freedman to get their money. Okay, they did say black people, and I just want, that's the kind of concern of mine because I'm not sure what that means. I don't know if that means all black people or just Descendants of Freedman. They did say Descendants of Freedman, but yeah, you have to make that clear because a lot of these people are really trying to hijack, our claims for reparative justice, primarily these Africans. Even these Caribbeans are trying to do it, but they need to fight over there in their country, in Africa. And in the Caribbean. That's where they need to go and fight for theirs. Everybody's always trying to come over here and just take everything away from us, trying to use our civil rights and everything that our ancestors fought for. And they're just messing with spiritual things when they do things like that. That is just not cool to do stuff like that. Our ancestors lost their lives fighting for us to get, the justice and just to be, free of all the things that we're going through even today. Okay, now all these people want to say that they are a part of us, and I'm hearing all this stuff when everybody want to be black all of a sudden. It's just nonsense. It's nonsense. But anyway, again, I don't want to get off topic, but you guys just tell me what you think. Do you guys believe that these other groups should have any say on what we get as far as FBA? Do you think they should have any say so? Okay, do you think the $5 million is enough? And what do you think about the NAACP showing up talking about that it's giving FBA false hope? What is that supposed to mean? I don't know if they were trying to say that they don't really have the funding yet. They're trying to find out how to fund this, but he's already signed it. And they're welcoming donations and all kind of things to get this, taken care of. And I think it's a wonderful thing. I think it's just starting off the New Year's right. And I want to tell everybody Happy New Year's because I forgot to state that. It's 2026 and we're starting off with great news. And I'm just, happy that this is finally taking place somewhere. in the world, somewhere I'll say in the United States, not in the world, in the United States. Let me make that clear, because there's already other people trying to hijack it, trying to get in and have their hands stuck out. Because that's what all these other groups come into this country to do, and that's just to take money. They don't care who they take from, and to involve yourself in something like this, it's really bold, and it's not any of your business. If you're not Black Descendants of Freedman, and you're not FBA, you're not any of those things, it's none of your business. And you have no say in what we get. You have no say in anything. But I do know one thing, we are going to need protections. I do believe that's going to be necessary for that, because people are too jealous and they don't want to see us with anything, so I just believe that the funding can come from many sources. It doesn't have to just come from no taxes. There's many ways to generate that money, but it needs to be given up. It's a long time overdue. We don't need any more studies. I'm sick of hearing that. But anyway, you guys just leave your comments. I know I've been gone on long enough. Tell me what you think about this news, and please share the video and give me a thumbs up. And please do not forget to subscribe before you leave. And everyone have a safe day.